preschoolers, today we're going to be using lines just like we did in our last class, but we're going to turn them into little rugs. So I'm starting by dragging something called an oil pastel across my paper. It feels kind of like a crayon, only it goes on a little bit smoother. I'm going to make a straight line that goes all the way across. I can change colors whenever I like. Now I'm going to try a new kind of line. This line is called a zigzag line. It's where I go up and down at a diagonal. Now I'm going to switch colors and try a wavy line. A wavy line looks almost like little hills. My last line I'm going to make is a dotted line. Now I'm going to do something called a watercolor resist. That's where I paint with watercolors over where I use pastels. This is called liquid watercolor. I don't need to add water because there's already water in it. I dip it in the paint, and then I'm going to paint on the paper. When I'm painting, I'm thinking about my paintbrush like it's a ballerina. Ballerinas dance on their tiptoes. These are the tiptoes of the paintbrush. So I'm always keeping my paintbrush on tippy toes, dancing across my paper. I never drag it hard over the paper. If I do that, my paper will rip. You can see that I can paint right over top of the pastel and it still shows. Now I'm only painting each part of my paper one time, not two or even three times. One time and then I move on to a new spot. When my paintbrush starts to feel dry, and you can see here that it's dry, it looks a little bit scratchy. That means that my paintbrush is thirsty and he needs to go back into the paint for more. And you can see that my paper's almost done. I'm staying on my tiptoes and I'm filling my whole paper with paint one time. If I get some paint on my hands, that's okay. I will get a turn to wash my hands in a moment. And now my paper is done. Next time I see you, we're going to make these look like rugs by adding something called fringe. I'm going to cut fringe in my paper. These are my scissors. I do fingers in the bottom and thumb on top. It's an open, shut, open, shut. When I cut fringe, I don't cut all the way off. I open my scissors and then I shut them. Open, shut. I sing a song. I say, open, shut, that's the way we cut, cut, cut. Fingers on the bottom and thumb on top. Don't let the paper drop. And I think that in my head. And I'm just opening and shutting all the way down the edge of my paper. I'm doing this on the two shorter sides of my paper. So now I'm rotating my paper. Open, shut, that's the way we cut, cut, cut. Fingers on the bottom and thumb on top. Don't let the paper drop. And you can see here I'm getting awfully close to my hand, so I'm going to scoot my other hand that I'm holding the paper with. Now this is fringe, and I am going to glue my beautiful painting to my fringe so it looks like a rug. Back to my painting, and I'm going to flip it to the back. I'm going to trace around the outside edge of my painting with glue. So I'm going around the outside edge, and I'm just tracing that rectangle shape. Remember that when I get a glob, I want to wipe it on the side. So you can see my glob, wipe on the side, now it's gone. I don't need to pour the glue. I don't need to add a lot of glue. I just need to add it to the right spots. Now I'm going to take my paper where I created the fringe, and I'm going to set this paper right on top. Now my painting is still a little bit wet. Yours will be dry when you do this, so your hands won't get all messy like mine are getting. Then I'm going to flip my paper over and give it a back rub. This helps the glue stick. And now my piece is done. You can see I have all different kinds of lines, and I even made lines with scissors to create this fringe on now what looks like a really cool rug.